Hey everyone, this is Team 7, and today we'd like to talk about how open source and self-build architecture democratize home building.
The current housing market is facing many issues when it comes to meeting demand. The gray area between single family homes and large apartment buildings is a place where democratized home building can thrive, offering opportunity for those struggling to find a home that meets their needs and their budget.
This gap exists because the traditional home building system is fundamentally undemocratic. Power and control are concentrated in developers and agencies that favor large-scale developments. This leaves homeowners powerless with multiple macroeconomic effects. So, what is democratic housing? Democratic housing is when individuals have access to high quality housing that satisfies missing middle goals, is unhindered by exclusionary zoning, and is low cost and affordable. Our proposal is that digital technology democratizes home building. Open source architecture plans, uploaded to the internet by AEC professionals, are available to 97% of Americans with the internet. We assume that AEC will still lead design, but that homeowners can modify the design and the execution. Our desired outcome is a decentralized housing model driven by open source, prefabricated building kits that recenter the homeowner as the primary decision maker of their dwelling's cost, design, and assembly. So, why should you care? Well, a democratized homeowner led housing system makes life easier and more affordable versus renting. Also, you can build your ideal house while gaining building knowledge, allowing for custom layouts for all abilities, a greater choice of finishes and systems, and valuable knowledge sharing. Also, it makes your housing budget go further, as it allows for cheaper cost per square meter, less additional fees, and fewer professional fees as well. In other words, it allows you, the homeowner, to be in control. So, our inspiration comes from the National Housing Design Catalog of permit ready housing designs in Canada, as well as Open System Labs WikiHouse, a factory built kit of parts for self builders in the UK.
This approach of democratizing home building brings more control to those who currently have very little. Those such as low income families, persons with mobility issues, and senior citizens, along with others, can use this to gain more control over their home building. Architects and designers can also be winners here, with opportunities for tax benefits and grants, great publicity, and a novel approach to the creative process.
Although developers may seem like the loser, they don't have to, as they can still resell land, selectively provide utilities, and be a labor provider.
Location is another primary factor in the implementation of democratized home ownership. An area such as the Greater Detroit area brings together important factors such as a growing city, a high distribution of low income, and land that is in need of current development.
So, our first test is seeing whether open source and self build platforms lower building costs. So, we're going to play a little bit of a simulation game here where we pitch the self build costs versus traditional construction costs. So, let's get cracking. So, the first two variables being added are direct costs and financial risks. And these variables will sort of be uncovered through simulation, where AEC professionals will be contacted for quotes, and through modeling to see how delays and inflation impact the financial risk costs. So, the next two variables being added are time and opportunity costs and post development valuations. And these variables will be found primarily through research, so understanding CPI multipliers and inflation indices, and through testing. And once added with the other variables, we'll understand whether self build unit costs are greater than or less than total developer built unit costs.
The second test of our open source platform explores if this democratized method of home development actually can provide the benefits and solutions that the middle and lower classes are looking for. First-hand research would start the process using public surveys and demographic analyses to understand who the qualified and willing candidates can be to start such trials. Once willing and qualified candidates are found, further research can ensue. During the process, candidates would be given access to open source plans and all of the necessary mediums in order to realize the home that they are in need of. Cost and other parameters would be tracked, along with candidate approval and complaints. Through the trial of dozens or even hundreds of individuals, results can be gathered to understand the possible large scale implementation of this program.
Our third methodology asks whether access to open source housing plans actually translates into the ability to build. Rather than comparing different municipalities, we focus on a single zoning district and test how different site conditions and housing typologies affect the path from downloading a plan to becoming permit ready. To keep the comparison consistent, every case study is located within Detroit's North End and R3 low-density residential district. By holding the neighborhood, zoning regulations, and permitting process constant, we can focus on how differences in the site itself influence buildability. Each site begins with the same open source housing toolkit. Rather than creating a custom design, a housing typology is selected based on the site, adapted as needed, and evaluated to determine what changes would be required before it can move through the approval process. We also identify the people involved in that process. While homeowners can access the plans, architects, engineers, city reviewers, and utility providers all play a role in adapting the design and moving it toward construction. Our first case study pairs a stacked duplex with a narrow interior lot. Because the site already aligns well with the selected housing type, only minor adaptations are anticipated, making it our baseline for comparison. The second case study places a townhouse development across multiple interior parcels. Parcel consolidation, utility coordination, and site planning introduce additional complexity, allowing us to evaluate how these conditions affect the level of adaptation required. Our third case study tests a cottage court on a multi-parcel corner lot. This scenario introduces the greatest number of anticipated adaptations, including setbacks, circulation, open space, and utility coordination, making it the most complex site in the study. Our final case study returns to a standard interior lot with a side-by-side duplex. Like the first site, the parcel is already well suited to the selected housing type, resulting in relatively few anticipated adaptations. The anticipated adaptations from each case study are compiled into our open source buildability assessment matrix. Each site is evaluated using the same barrier categories, creating a consistent framework for comparing buildability across different site conditions. Rather than predicting permit outcomes, the framework provides a repeatable method for identifying where additional coordination and design adaptations may be required. If our hypothesis is correct, the research suggests that open source architecture alone will not solve housing affordability. Lasting change also depends on policies that support homeowner-led development. From a policy perspective, this research points towards simplified zoning, streamlined permitting, and greater flexibility for self-built and modular housing as important steps towards expanding access to homeownership. For designers, the findings encourage standardized permit-ready housing systems, digital code compliance tools, and modular construction methods that make professional design more accessible without sacrificing quality. More accessible housing also creates broader social benefits by increasing homeowner autonomy, reducing dependence on large developers, improving affordability, and creating neighborhoods that are better able to adapt over time. Technology can democratize access to architectural knowledge, but housing only becomes truly democratized when institutions evolve alongside it. By combining open source design with supportive policies and professional expertise, we can begin creating a housing system that gives homeowners a greater role in shaping the places they live.